In February 2026, MIT built a tool to look inside an AI's mind. They expected circuits. They expected math. What they found made them question you. Right now, as you hear this, billions of neurons are firing inside your skull. Science can track every single one of them. But here's what no scientist on Earth can explain: why it feels like something to be you. Not the signals, not the chemistry, the feeling. Why is there someone home inside your head? We call it consciousness, and after 30 years of trying, nobody knows what it is. Then we built machines that reason, argue, and create. And suddenly, a question that was comfortable in philosophy classrooms became dangerous. If we built something that thinks, and we can't explain our own thinking, who exactly doesn't understand whom? What happened next in a lab at MIT is the part no one saw coming. In 1995, a philosopher named David Chalmers did something unusual. He didn't solve a problem, he named one, and the name alone shook the scientific world. He called it the hard problem of consciousness. Not hard as in difficult, hard as in this might be the one thing science can never answer. Here's why. Your brain processes light, and you see a sunset. Beautiful. Science can explain every photon, every signal, every neuron involved. But science cannot explain why that sunset moves you. Why does it feel like anything to see red, to hear music, to lose someone you love? Why isn't your brain just a biological computer running in the dark? No experience, no feeling, nobody home. That question broke philosophy. And for 30 years, nobody, not neuroscientists, not physicists, not the most brilliant minds alive, has come close to an answer. Then, in 2026, a lab at MIT accidentally stumbled onto something. Not an answer, something that scared them more. They built a tool to look inside a machine, and what they saw changed the question entirely. For years, AI was a black box. Data goes in, answers come out. Nobody knew what happened in between. Imagine building a brain and having no idea how it thinks. That's where we were. Then, MIT built a microscope, not for cells, for thought. An interpretability system, a way to watch an AI as it reasons, step by step. And here's where it gets strange. Inside the AI, they didn't find simple calculations. They found structures, internal models, something that represents the world before answering, almost like understanding. Now, no scientist is claiming AI is conscious, but here's the trap they walked into. To prove it's not conscious, you first need to define what consciousness is. And that definition, the one humanity has been trying to write for 3,000 years, doesn't exist. So for the first time in history, engineers, not monks, not mystics, engineers are being forced to define the nature of inner experience because their code demands it. And as they reach for that definition, they keep bumping into something the ancient tradition said thousands of years ago. Awareness is not the brain. Awareness uses the brain. The mystics said it in temples. The engineers are saying it in code reviews. Same conclusion, different buildings. But what comes next changes this from a science story to a personal one, because the answer to where consciousness lives has everything to do with who you think you are.
Here's what AI can already do.
It can think. It can reason. It can write poetry that makes people cry. It can compose music. It can argue. It can create. So what's left that's yours? The answer, and this is where every spiritual tradition on earth has been pointing, is not what your mind does. It's the one who's watching. Right now, you're hearing these words, but there's a you behind the hearing, the silent witness that notices you're listening. That witness, the awareness that watches your thoughts, AI doesn't have it, and nobody can even describe what it is, let alone build it. Every meditation teacher tried to show you this. Every contemplative tradition tried to point at it. Now, machine learning engineers, people who write Python, not poetry, are arriving at the same mystery. Not because they're spiritual, because their math requires an answer they can't find. We are building minds we don't understand, and that's forcing us, finally, to understand our own. Not because AI threatens what makes you human, because it shows you what makes you human by being everything you are except the one thing that matters most. And that one thing? Science just started measuring it. What they're finding? That's the next video. We built a thinking machine before we understood what thinking is. And in doing that, we may have accidentally built the most powerful mirror in human history. A mirror that shows you everything the mind does, so you can finally see what the mind is. Can consciousness be measured? Scientists say yes, and the first results are already in. What they found, I'll show you next time, and I promise you, it's not what you expect.